Checkout tracking by the NPD Group brings you a receipt collecting system that gathers data anonymously through technology we created, providing your businesses with answers.
Wow. Thank you, George. With such a big build-up, I hope I meet all the expectations in the room. So, hi to everyone. It's great to be here. As George said, I'm Peleg Israeli. I'm the general manager of Bidalgo. For those of you who don't know us, Bidalgo is a Facebook marketing partner, what was previously called a PMD. Our specialty or expertise is helping gaming and mobile app developers scale their user acquisition and hit those ROI targets that they're looking for. A bit about us, about Bidalgo. We've been around for the last 5 years. Our headquarters is in Tel Aviv. We recently opened an office up here in San Francisco and are building our American presence. We're about 40 employees, a bit more, and we basically offer two services and products to the world. Both are fully managed solution, as George mentioned earlier, and both are a technology or SaaS platform where developers like yourselves can work on our platform to scale your UA. What I wanted to talk to you about today is how we take our data-centric approach, how we take our love for analysis and the numbers and bring it all in together through the amazing world of creative and understand what performs well for the social casino vertical. I want to begin by thanking all of our clients. We've had the amazing opportunity to work with some of the biggest gaming developers over the last 5 years. We've seen the small ones grow and reach huge acquisitions. We've seen the biggest clients doing amazing stuff and the smallest ones building themselves to get there. And they've actually allowed me to share some of the great stuff that they've done to help you guys out understand how we need to be doing creative on Facebook for user acquisition. I want to begin with a little game. I'm sure everyone here is familiar with House of Fun, one of the leading slots brands. They were acquired by Playtika about a year and a half ago. We see two nice images here that we advertised in the news feed. Who here in the room thinks that the image on the right-hand side, the gorilla, performed better than the lion? Why is that? Okay. Who thinks the lion one was performing better? Why is that?
It's more interesting to slot players. It's easier to understand, and it's more basic, not cluttered with all the extra nonsense art inside.
Okay. So remember the things you said. We're going to talk about them later. But the lion one did perform much better. It actually had an 89% higher CTR. The install rate was almost 150% higher. So it's interesting. As you mentioned, such a graphically appealing image at the end of the day didn't perform as well as the lion one. Let's try this again with a Playtika ad. This is an ad for Caesar Slots. The images are identical here. What differs between them is the text. The one on the left hand says, "Download now to win free coins, click and play." The one on the right hand side says, "Pay attention, it's madness time." Can I see a show of hands who thinks "Pay attention, it's madness time" performed better? Okay, very few people. Why is that? Now is madness time. How about the other one? Okay, well, you already had your chance. I need someone else. Strong call to action, right. So actually, there was a very, very small difference between the two. And what this leads us to understand is at the end of the day on Facebook, when they give such a lot of room or real estate to the image, as you can do such nice artwork there, the text is probably a bit less important. It doesn't mean it's not important, but it's image over text for sure, and that's what we'll be focusing on in this presentation. Now, this is a great example of an ad by Rocket Play, another amazing company that was recently acquired. Everyone knows cats drive the internet. There are endless amounts of movies of cats doing random things on YouTube. What if we were to take a cool cat, put him with a daily spin wheel? Let's see how that works for social casino. And what do you know? The CTRs are 17% higher than all the other ads running at the time. The install rates are 4% higher. Conversion to FTD was 21% higher. FTD is a first-time depositor for those who don't know. And if we look at the full funnel from impression to FTD, we're actually talking about an ad that performed almost 50% more efficiently than all the other ads at the same time. So obviously in this example, it's very easy to conclude this is a good ad. But our reality is a bit more difficult. We see two amazing ads here by Product Madness. I'm sure you're all familiar with the Heart of Vegas, one of the leading slots brands today. And yelling back there. In this example, you can see that the ad on the top had a 78% higher CTR. And if we're looking at their install rate, it was almost 40% higher. But then when we look how those users converted into FTDs, suddenly the bottom ad becomes much better. And when I reach the end of the funnel, and again, look at the efficiency from the impression to the FTD, suddenly we realize that the bottom ad was actually better than the top ad. Now, this is a very difficult reality that we need to face because a user acquisition manager or a media buyer that wants to optimize their creative and their campaigns wants to make decisions as early on as they can. But only at the end did they understand that the bottom ad was actually better than the first. We're going to try another round with video ads. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Play Studios. Check out this ad. Show of hands for the first one. Play free slots. What is this? No one. Either you weren't listening or you're really good. So the second one was better, and I'm happy you guys are learning. It definitely performed better, and I think something that is very, very clear in these two examples, they're both beautiful video ads. The first one, it shows the brand at first, then it shows the product, the logo, and it kind of takes time until a user will understand what is the product itself. That's a very important thing to remember when we're doing video advertising, because we can really kind of get lost with all the different things we want to show and tell. At the end of the day, we need to grab a user's attention very quickly. All the examples I've talked about kind of lead us to a difficult question: is how and can we even predict how a creative will perform once we're making the creatives and trying to make good material? In order to answer that question, what we've done is we've built an internal process that we use and train our teams to work by. I want to share it with you guys, and hopefully you can take some of it to your own work. It starts with the way we create our campaigns. So obviously we're using our technology, our platform. We've built very strong dashboards that allow us to really analyze how all the different videos are performing, the different images are performing. We can really zone in on a specific image, see the different combinations of it, the different targeting. All that makes us be able to really understand the historical performance of an ad. We've also developed a formula, what we call a Bidalgo rank, is where we really rank the different images against one another and understand what are our best images, our worst images. Obviously, it's much easier and more efficient to do this with technology, with dashboards, with good visualization. But at the end of the day, what you need to do is you need to analyze everything that you've done in the past and understand the metrics behind your images. When you're uploading your new campaigns, when you're creating campaigns, you need to be making those decisions right before you launch new activity. The next thing we do is A/B testing. So obviously, there are endless amount of things we want to test. The question is, how do you test in an efficient way? Because as much as you want to test, it can also cost you a lot of money. What we've done is we've built into our technology a very strong algo bidding algorithm that allows us to test thousands of different audiences at the same time, different ads, different audiences, and we can very efficiently and quickly understand when users or which type of creatives are going to hit their targets, which have potential to hit them, which don't. It's all about doing this in a financially efficient way. So again, if you're not using technology, you need to limit the amount of testing you're doing. You need to understand how much money you're going to be spending on each of your tests, limit yourself, and make sure you're working with a defined process that on one hand allows you to test, but on the other hand is not costing too much money. The third is where we bring our human insights into play. So we would take all of the ads or the graphics that we've created, put them in a spreadsheet, and start ranking them. The ones with the higher CTRs, the ones with the lower CTRs. We can do it amongst other metrics as well. We can also create a quality score where we take all the metrics we're looking at, give them a different weight, and come up with a final number, even an ROI per ad. At the end of the day, this is a very important part of the process where we're looking at all the different A/B tests we've done, and then we get the teams together, the user acquisition managers, the creative teams, the analytics teams, and they all sit and try to understand what in the ads that worked well was successful. Did they have specific elements that we think made them successful? And what in the ads that didn't work well should we steer away from the next time we do imagery? And obviously, we take all of those conclusions into a new cycle of performance-enhanced creative. Now, just to get out of the methodology and kind of let you guys have some takeaways that you can implement right away, I've put together the lucky 7 rules for winning the jackpot. The first one is to know your audience. So when we're targeting a male audience, we want to match the content to them. Probably a sports-related content will appeal more to males. And different content will probably appeal more to women. Animal lovers, fashion followers. On Facebook, you can really hit any target audience that you're looking for. You need to think who you're targeting and what type of messaging and creative they're looking for. If we're doing acquisition activity, then you need to fit the messaging. You need to tell the users that they have free slots or that they're going to get a specific deposit, something that's very acquisition related. When we're doing re-engagement, this is a user that already knows us. We need to speak to them in a more personal way. We miss you. This is a special reward for a loyal player, someone that knows and needs to feel that the brand already is familiar with them and is offering them relevant content. The second rule is showcase your product. So you can see on the left ad here, you have a slots machine where the middle reel is actually spinning. This is the type of thrill or excitement that slots players are looking for, and you really kind of get it across in an ad. On the right-hand side, you can see multi-line features. So again, to a non-slots player, probably not so interesting. To a heavy slots player who likes multi-lines, this is something they want to know your product facilitates. So this is a very basic rule of internet marketing. Surprisingly enough, I think not enough people follow this rule, but at the end of the day, your images need to have clear call to actions on them, and you can be very creative with how you want to do it, but it can be from collect now, this is your bonus. It can be an example like here, Casa Casino have a little casino where you walk around in the app, so they're telling the user, come sit next to this machine. It can be product orientated, play slots. And it can be a bit more emotional or explaining what's going to happen in the game. Come, spin, play. This is an important one. This is to listen to your users. And basically what that means is identify what is working well with your users. Why are they reacting to it? And create more and more variations off of that. So here we recognized an ad users were reacting well to. Now let's try to create more things in that theme. We try to maintain the essence but give them more variety. And here's another example of how we did it for 12 gigs, and just by adding the multi-lines, suddenly you're appealing to additional users within that same audience group that you were targeting. For House of Fun, this is a great example where we saw that their users were reacting very well to Fire. When we started using Fire in their ads, we got great results, so we just continued to create more and more Fire variations, and even went down the Eye of Sauron approach. And this is something that generally works very, very well. This is where we can be creative. So about a year and a half ago, Facebook released the desktop app install ad. When they did that, we recognized that it has a very nice call to action button on the right-hand side. So we tried to do something a bit different. We pulled out arrows from the images pointing to the call to action. We saw that users reacted well to this. The new mobile app carousel format, we want to use it in an interesting way. So here, we did this for Rushmo, for Casino Frenzy, where we actually put a puzzle on the first frame of the mobile app carousel ad, and there's a missing piece in the puzzle. And the user is actually asked to go through the different frames and find the missing piece. What we see is that a user that will play this game, engage with the ad, will come into the app in a state of mind where they already have started some kind of interaction with your product. They're probably going to be a better converting and more valuable user to you. This is another great example where we tried to stand out on the news feed. A lot of the ads, the slots ads, are looking one like another. So what we did is we tried to create some depth, some 3D imagery, and just think when you see an ad like this on your news feed, suddenly it creates a disruption for the user. It looks different, it stands out. In a slots player that's seen 1,000 ads that looks the same, this will probably grab his attention. A lot of things are happening around us. If we can take our content and make sure it's relevant to the different seasonality things that are happening or current events, we can personalize towards Christmas and New Year's and Halloween and Martin Luther King Day and Happy Australia Day and Black Friday and 4th of July. And I'm sure every one of you guys have different events that are meaningful for your user base, and you can create content that's relevant for it. The last rule is about refreshing your creative. So from our studies, we see that CTRs are declining week by week by week. And in order to keep them up and high, you need to constantly pump new creatives into your campaigns. A general rule of thumb is 10 creatives per week, and it would be good to do more than that. So I'm going to quickly remind you the 7 rules. We need to be relevant, match the audience and the content. We need to show the audience the product itself, put it in their face, have a call to action on your ad, create variations of the creatives that you see are working well. Try to be creative with the formats, do things that are different from what others are doing and try to stand out. Content that's related to current events is a very strong thing, and constantly refresh your creatives. Like in every casino, I've put a bonus round as well. And as you all know, video is the new king. We're seeing on Facebook that video ads are performing amazingly. It's bringing very, very high user engagement. The lifetime values coming from users who have interacted with video ads is very high. And for us, it actually gives many additional data points for optimization. We can understand who's viewed a full video, who watched only 50% or 3 seconds of it. And that's a lot of data points that can teach you how your audience is reacting to the content you're providing them with. In order to deal with that, we've actually recently released a very strong product named Adaptation, which is our solution to personalizing video and making sure that each audience gets the video that's most relevant for them. I don't have time now. I can go on and on about Adaptation, but I'd love to talk to whoever wants to later about it. What I did want to share with you guys is the basic methodology that we use behind Adaptation. So here are some examples for Rushmo, or Casino Frenzy, where basically we create a seed template that works well with the audience. Now, after various tests, we've seen this seed has worked very well. And then we actually asked ourselves, okay, we're targeting women in the US. Let's try to personalize this. Let's try to add a bit of different music, maybe some characters, something that will be a bit more US iPhone owner orientated. And in the UK, we all know that everyone loves the royal family, right? So these types of variations or personalization around that original seed are very, very strong, and we're seeing that users are reacting much better to personalized video ads. So we're going to finish with one last time. Who thinks the one on the left-hand side, the 7 and the diamonds, performed better? Okay. Who thinks the other one? Rule number 2, showcase your product. As appealing as all these celebrities are, especially Elvis, at the end of the day, the product is what the users are looking for. I'm going to finish with this sentence. At the end of the day, what the point that I wanted to make here today is that you need to take into account that when you're advertising, especially on Facebook, your creative is the first time that your users are actually interacting with your brand, seeing your brand. It needs to be a meaningful interaction. You need to think about how your ads look, about what kind of engagement levels they will cause, and the revenues that you're going to be getting down the line from doing good creative. Thank you all for listening, and if there are any questions.
Thanks, Peleg. I have one question for you. I think you guys just announced that you're going to be doing ads on Instagram.
We did yesterday.
What insights can you offer us about Instagram? Is Instagram a place for social casino advertising?
Wow, you're asking the $1 million question. and probably a lot more than $1 million question, but it's a bit too early to answer that. I can tell you my personal take, definitely social casinos can do a lot on Instagram. It's still very, very early stages, so it will take time to understand how to bring the social casino world into the Instagram community. It's a very different approach to advertising. The community there is different than what it is on Facebook, so I think we all need to learn what type of creatives they will react to well. If I kind of have to say on a very general note, Instagram as a platform is much more fashionable, artsy. They're looking for more high quality content than the regular advertising that we're all used to doing. But I believe there's a huge opportunity there, especially with the mobile app install unit. Video is coming out down the line, so things are looking very promising, in my opinion, for social casino developers on Instagram.
What are your thoughts on having your creatives match your screenshots, especially with the knowledge that, say, the first screenshot is so important for conversion on the App Store?
I just want to make sure I understand. You're talking about what type of screenshots do you want to put in the creative?
No, that your advertising creative matches your screenshots.
Like shows actual screenshots from the gameplay?
They could even be the same creative as your first screenshot, so that the user sees the ad, they arrive at the store, they see something familiar that they've just seen.
Okay, you're talking about the screenshots in the app stores. Okay, so I think it's definitely something that should be tested, but it doesn't have to be that. Meaning, if I was to kind of break it down, the first time the user sees your brand, you need to do something very, very engaging. Now, if you have a screenshot from your game that you think is amazing to a user and will pull them in automatically, yes, you can put them there. But a different approach can be put something, I don't know, very nice visually. Maybe it's not something even that exists in your game, like something that will talk to those users, okay? Draw them in. Obviously, they need to understand what the product is. I'm not saying mislead them, right? And then in the App Store itself, you can have screenshots that they're already in a more advanced or progressed state of mind, and they're more interested in seeing the actual gameplay. Was that clear? Sure. Okay.
Thanks, Peleg. That was great.
Thank you.